Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're just going to have a little chat about the upcoming Agents of Bile that we're going to see in War of the Spider. I say upcoming, it's going to be a little while yet. I mean, we don't actually have Engine War yet, but it's an interesting topic, and it's something that's fun to think about because there's a lot of potential behind it. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. There's a lot of things that could go on, and I'm genuinely excited to see what they actually do with it. So, if you're not aware, we're obviously getting a new Fabius Bile model. It is on the way. We know what it looks like now. Him and his weird little helper, his little personal battlefield gimp there. And the Agents of Bile are essentially a sub-faction that are dedicated to him, as the name suggests. Now, I've seen quite a few kind of suggestions and ideas as to what the Agents of Bile could be, what form they could take. I have to admit, a few of them, disappointingly, have been along the lines of, well, it's probably Chaos Primaris or something like that. I don't think it's likely to be Chaos Primaris, and I think that would actually be a fairly disappointing take on it. Fabius Bile is all about the augmentation, the improvement, the evolution. He is someone who's gone to great lengths to create new men, and whilst Chaos Primaris might be something that will show up in the future, I find it unlikely that they would show up, especially right now, especially since we have, we've not that long ago, relatively speaking, had new Chaos Space Marines, new Obliterators, new Havocs. It feels weird that suddenly Chaos Primaris would show up now, that soon after all those releases, and only be available to one specific sub-faction. That would be an interesting choice and not one that I think Games Workshop would actually make. Instead, the Agents of Bile are most likely going to be either Space Marines or creatures that Bile has worked on himself, whether it's something that he has, or someone that he has captured and augmented and improved through his various surgical ways. He's all about the organic, not the machine. That's one of the main things. Whether it's something that he has personally captured and done stuff to, or whether it's someone who has volunteered themselves for his services in an attempt to improve themselves. Either way, there's a lot that could be done. Now, what I'm kind of hoping for is essentially a method for improving and augmenting Chaos Space Marines, and possibly, maybe, this is like a best case scenario thing for me. I would like buffed Chaos Space Marines, ones where you can choose what extra they get. Maybe a little bit more expensive, but ones that are maybe a little bit hardier, so either a bit tougher or maybe an extra wound. Some ones that are a little stronger, ones that have a little better a skill either in close combat or at ranged. Something that is either randomly generated, which could be fun, or something which you can select specifically. To be honest, part of me thinks maybe it would be a randomly generated thing, with the option to use a stratagem, for instance, to actually pick something, but that's just me throwing out random guesses. That's not something I know anything specific about. The thing that I would also really like to see, that is possibly unlikely, but would be quite nice and thematic, is the idea of being able to take certain Dark Eldar stuff. Certain Drakari stuff, sorry. Gotta use the right name. Being able to take a homunculus or something, or a pain engine, or something of that type. I mean, Bile has got a bit of a relationship with the Dark Eldar, one way or another. He's been under their instruction, and he's impressed in quite a few ways. It would be complex in a way for you to have a Chaos sub-faction that also could take full-on just Xenos units, but it would be quite fitting for Bile as a whole, and it would definitely fit in with the idea of his augmenting and changing things to suit his purpose, to chase this ideal of new men. What I'm kind of hoping for is that we do get just ways to improve or just tweak Chaos Space Marines, but also have something a little bit more out of left field, something like the ability to take very select units from the Dark Eldar Codex, simply because it would fit him very, very well, and there are existing stat lines for the type of creations that Bile would conceivably come up with. I mean, realistically, it feels fairly unlikely, mostly just because of that confusion element of being able to just take something from a totally different codex. In the context of Chaos Space Marines, anyway, because that's not something that's typically been in their wheelhouse, or at least not for quite some time. I can still remember being able to take a Basilisk as Iron Warriors, but that was a long time ago, and I can't really think of any specific example since, although there's been a lot of codexes over the years, so I may well just be missing something that actually was an option. One of the main things I'm most excited about, however, regardless of what happens, is the potential for conversions, is the potential for kit batches, is the potential to make an army of monstrosities, of freaks, of absolute steroid-fueled nightmare creatures, because that's half the fun of the hobby for me. Something I'm really liking the idea of is being able to use different kits to make various flavours of augmented creature from Bile's laboratories. If you wanted something skinny, weird and creepy, Dalak bodies from Necromunda would be great with a variety of different heads. You could do something similar with the Goliaths if you want a proper kind of steroid-fueled nightmare selection. There's a lot you could do with it, potentially, mixing, again, things like Dark Eldar kits with either Necromunda kits, or just plain old Chaos Space Marine kits. I'd imagine there's quite a bit you could achieve. Part of me really feels like a Dalak gang with Cawdor heads would fit a particular kind of lithe, creepy creation of Fabius Bile. Whether we'd have the rules to actually make that worth doing, I don't know, but I would quite like to see Bile striding into battle with a bunch of these kind of skinny, gaunt, just borderline alien-looking freaks at his back. That would be quite a fun thing to paint and quite a fun thing to put on the table. No matter what happens with it, though, the main thing is that I'm just excited that they're doing it at all. I'm happy that they are giving him a little sub-faction. They are actually carving out his little space. He doesn't really fit properly within any single Chaos Space Marine warband right now. He's not a part of the Emperor's Children. He's not a part of anything, really. He is his own entity, carving his own path, and actually having the ability to make that the case on the tabletop in such a way that it actually reflects who he is and what he does is, I think, one of my favourite announcements to do with War of the Spider, just full stop. It's the right thing for the character, and it's nice that we're not just getting the model, but we're getting the actual, hopefully, rules to reflect exactly what he is, how he works, and the fact that he is in it for himself and not for the glory of chaos overall. Let me know what you reckon we might see with the Agents of Bile. Any conversion or kit bash ideas, depending on what we could see. Anything that you immediately thought, yes, that would be perfect to field with him. If there's any sort of mad concoctions that you've been looking at for when that particular set of rules come out, let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, where if you buy something, I get something for sending you that way. You save a bunch of money on top of what you would have spent at Games Workshop. You're going to buy it anyway. It's a nice way to support the channel, and some of it goes to charity at the end of the month. So you can do that if you wish. I leave it entirely up to you in your capable hands, and I will see you for the next one.